If an average person earns a monthly salary of 25,000 rupees and wants to earn as much money as Elon Musk, they would have to work for 8 million years. Meanwhile, in the mere 5.5 minutes it took for this video to play, Elon Musk has already earned $1 million. Yet, the most surprising fact about Elon is that he is not the wealthiest person in history. There have been individuals in the past whose wealth would make Elon's fortune seem insignificant. Compared to them, Elon Musk would appear poor. Let us discover who the wealthiest people in history were. We begin with a billionaire from the 1980s, Pablo Escobar, the Colombian drug lord. In the 1980s, Escobar's cocaine empire was at its peak. He was earning approximately $420 million per week. On paper, his net worth was estimated at around $80 billion, but that didn't reflect reality. He possessed so much money that banks couldn't even handle it. He didn't count his cash, he weighed it. Much of his wealth was stashed underground in bunkers, inside walls, and in warehouses. He had so much money that $1 to $2 billion would be lost annually simply due to rats. Furthermore, he spent $2,500 a month just on rubber bands to bundle the cash. To understand the extent of his wealth, consider this. Once, when his daughter was suffering from the cold, he burned $2 billion in cash just to keep her warm. Yet even Pablo Escobar was not the wealthiest person in history. The year was 1945. World War II had just ended. Soldiers were returning home, and victory celebrations were underway in America. Meanwhile, the war had driven unemployment rates to extreme levels, leaving destruction everywhere. Yet amidst this ruin lay the wealthiest man of that era, Joseph Stalin, the communist leader of the Soviet Union. At first glance, Stalin appeared to be an utterly ordinary man. He held no bank accounts and possessed no personal savings. His belongings consisted merely of simple clothing, a hookah pipe, and a few books. Yet, despite this, Stalin is considered one of the wealthiest individuals in history, simply because the concept of personal savings was irrelevant to him. In reality, he owned the entire nation. His authority was absolute and unquestionable. Even a minor joke made at his expense could land a person in a labor camp. He controlled the very flow of wealth. With a single signature, he could transform an ordinary farmer into a factory director or a poor soldier into a general, and grant a loyal party member a lavish palace. Conversely, with another stroke of his pen, he could strip away everything and erase a person from history entirely. No matter how wealthy someone in his realm might be, their future always hinged on Stalin's will. Imagine not owning major companies like Amazon, Google, or Tesla, yet having the power to utilize their products, services, and resources at will, and the authority to revoke their ownership entirely should they refuse. That was Stalin. The entire system was under his control. People feared him so profoundly that when he suffered a fatal stroke, his staff dared not summon a doctor for nearly 12 hours, terrified that if he woke up, he might execute them for acting without official orders. Although public portrayals depicted him as a man of modest means, his covert control over the economy would be valued at approximately $10 trillion in today's terms. Now let us look at the next contender. In 1909, Adolf Hitler was homeless. He dreamed of becoming an artist and moved to Vienna to pursue that ambition, selling postcards and paintings to earn a meager living. Later, he fought in World War I, an experience that marked the beginning of his political journey. In 1923, Hitler attempted to overthrow the government, an act for which he was sentenced to 9 months in prison. While incarcerated, he wrote a book titled Mein Kampf. Although sales were modest following his release, the book became ubiquitous after he rose to power in 1933. The Nazi government compelled people to purchase it, and approximately 10 million copies were sold that year alone. Hitler also generated passive income through image copyrights. He earned money from the sale of every postage stamp bearing his likeness. He even copyrighted his speeches, profiting whenever news of them circulated via newspapers or radio. Media channels dominated almost exclusively by coverage of him at the time. Furthermore, Hitler levied exorbitant taxes, often without the public even realizing what exactly they were being taxed for. However, his most significant source of supplementary income was donations from supporters. Wealthy individuals frequently gifted him luxury items valued at over $5 billion. However, his true power stemmed from military might. From the outbreak of World War II until his death, he controlled the majority of Europe, looting priceless treasures from these nations. Consequently, adjusted for inflation, his net worth would be approximately $3 trillion. Let us delve further back into history. In the late 19th century, oil was everything. It was indispensable for lighting lamps and powering factories. Now, imagine a single individual controlling 90% of the world's oil, not a country, not a corporation, but one man. That man was John D. Rockefeller. Consider this. Today, the world's largest oil company, Saudi Aramco, is valued at around $2 trillion, yet it controls 55% of the global oil supply. Just think about how wealthy Rockefeller must have been. He founded the Standard Oil Company in 1870. However, in 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court declared his company an illegal monopoly and ordered it to be broken up into 34 separate entities. Ironically, this ruling transformed Rockefeller's fortunes for the better. He held shares in all the newly formed companies, and as their stock prices soared, he became wealthier than ever. By 1913, his wealth was so immense that it accounted for 3% of the U.S. GDP, meaning that for every $100 held by individuals, $3 belonged to Rockefeller. In today's terms, his wealth would be valued at between $400 and $600 billion. Moving back to the 16th century, one man ruled over the entirety of India. His empire was so wealthy that he owned 1/4 of the world's total wealth. This was Emperor Akbar. Yet Akbar did not inherit this wealth. He established a brilliant system. He efficiently collected taxes, controlled trade routes, and expertly managed fertile lands and the agrarian workforce. As a result, vast quantities of gold, silver, spices, and textiles flowed into his empire. During his reign, the Mughal Empire alone generated 25% of the global GDP, a figure equivalent to approximately $28 trillion today. He was so wealthy that modern billionaires pale in comparison. Just as modern billionaires control corporations, Emperor Akbar controlled land, people, trade, armies, and resources. Therein lay his true power. Let us delve even further back into history. In 1324, a man set out from Mali on a pilgrimage to Mecca, covering a distance of 9,600 kilometers. He did not travel alone. He was accompanied by a massive caravan of nearly 60,000 people. Among them were 12,000 slaves carrying chests filled with gold. Additionally, there were camels laden with sacks of gold dust, gold intended solely for zakat, or charity. He carried roughly 20,000 kilograms of gold specifically for almsgiving. Whenever he encountered the poor along his route, he would distribute gold to them. Furthermore, wherever the caravan halted on a Friday, he would commission the construction of a mosque. He distributed so much gold during his journey that the economy, particularly Egypt's, suffered damage for nearly a decade. This massive influx of gold caused drastic fluctuations in global market values. Much like how a single tweet from Elon Musk can shift markets today, the mere passage of Mansa Musa through a city could alter its economic landscape. Mansa Musa was the ruler of the Mali Empire in Africa. He possessed immense reserves of salt and gold, owning nearly 50% of the world's gold supply. Historians estimate his wealth at around $400 billion, though some believe his net worth was vastly higher. If we go back another 100 years, we encounter yet another incredibly wealthy historical figure, Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan's wealth was of a somewhat different nature. As the ruler of the Mongol Empire, he conquered approximately 20% of the world's landmass during his reign. Whenever he conquered a territory, he would plunder all its wealth. At that time, there were no banking systems, personal balance sheets, or currency-based net worth calculations as we have today. Wealth was measured in terms of land, gold, and resources. Consequently, his estimated total wealth stood at around 130 trillion. However, there is a common misconception here. Despite commanding such vast wealth, Genghis Khan possessed no personal assets of his own. This was, in fact, the most crucial aspect of his power. Instead of hoarding the looted wealth, he distributed it among his soldiers and commandos to foster loyalty. In reality, Genghis Khan led a very simple life. He wore plain clothing, ate the same food as his soldiers, and slept in a tent alongside them. However, based on the land under his control, he could well be considered one of the wealthiest individuals in history. Let us travel further back in time to the 1st century AD. People of that era were unaware that they were living through a pivotal moment in history. During this period, the Maya were building cities in the Americas, and Indians were trading goods via maritime Silk Road routes, while the Chinese had just invented paper. Yet, Augustus Caesar, Rome's first emperor, was the wealthiest and most powerful figure of the age. A few years earlier, he had defeated Egypt's queen Cleopatra and her lover Mark Antony in war, seizing the entirety of Egypt's wealth for himself. By this time, he controlled 20% of Rome's economy. He also employed a ruthless method to amass wealth. Occasionally, he would have the wealthy elites of his empire killed and confiscate their assets. Furthermore, a significant portion of his fortune stemmed from his control over vast territories, tax collection, and personal wealth. Historians estimate that his net worth, adjusted for modern value, would amount to approximately $5 trillion.